What up, no? This is Top 3 Podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Christopher Edens. I am here today with the Bucket Hat Supreme, the man with more shows than... Damn, what's the dude who makes American Horror Story? Shit. Whatever that gay white man's name is. You can Google it at home. He got more shows than that. But, you know, the man's out here. He's thriving. He's doing good. The Wire has hit. He finally got his lemon pepper wet jacket.
No.
You know, hating and complaining has worked out for the man. So let me not tell him that his plan is incorrect. All right? You know him. His name is Leonard Smith.
I'm glad
Jr.
you said something. I'm glad we started out. Hating works, people. Hating works.
Oh shit! Did you get?
Give him the shot.
That's tight.
Yeah. Shout out to Fans Idea. You know, they gave me my money back and they sent me the jacket. So, will I order anything else from them? Probably not. But I
immediately undercut the plug.
Very. It's a great quality. You got yours immediately.
I did.
You got yours in
fuck with
time.
him. I'm gonna order something else from him.
Yeah,
I got mine.
Hey, well, let me hop on that order. No, this is great. The man, the Slytherin King, the well-read, the well-written Chris Edens.
Thank you.
Shout out to him. But we got our guest today. And our guest, man. You heard this man on Comedy Bang Bang. He got his show, Comedian Feud. That I love being a part of. You've seen him on Grand Crew. You've seen him on so many goddamn TV
You hear
shows.
the man on Earwolf. You see the man everywhere.
Man.
Shit, what don't he do?
Jacquis Neal, what up? What up? What up?
I don't do cocaine. Baby. Don't do cocaine. Say no to drugs, everybody. Say no to drugs.
Weed's
What up,
technically a
fellas?
drug, so I don't know about that one.
Weed ain't a drug. Weed is from the earth. Weed is
love.
medicinal.
Weed
Weed
is love.
comes
Weed is
from
love,
Gaia.
Weed is
baby.
love, bro.
Weed is love. Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing the pod today.
Oh,
Top
man.
3.
Appreciate
We
you having
excited. You know, we know Jacquis is a classically trained actor.
Oh man.
And,
Do we know that?
Can you give the people a little bit about yourself?
Yeah,
a
give
little
you people-
background.
Little
please?
background. Oh shit! It's been a minute since I've had to give a background. I Chicago kid, born and raised. Started in theater, so you know, got a little done the Shakespeare, done all that
If
shit.
you
I
can't
miss
hear by the articulation, nigga, listen to that.
it. You know, we can get down and gritty in them motherfuckers. You know, and then you know, was rocking out with that a little bit. I miss it a lot. I want to do it again, but came out here, got bored, and decided to do comedy. A lot of people were like, oh man, you from Chicago, you must have been doing it. I was like, I never did comedy. I mean, I would do comedic plays, but never like it is out here. I jumped into this shit out of boredom and out of like
Flex.
knowing. Not even.
Kids, you can't be like that. This nigga came up just off of being irritated.
LA is tough, man. LA is tough. Like, you know, and I was like, all right, there's no theater out here, but I'm comfortable on the stage. So, like, what's the next best thing? And I had done improv in Chicago. Like, I just it wasn't my main thing. So I was like, this seems cool. And at the time, we had, like, a Second City in L.A. We had an I.O. in L.A., which were the big theaters in Chicago, the big comedy clubs in Chicago. And I don't know what made me choose UCB. I was just like, this seems like the number one.
Yeah.
One, I don't know. I really would love to like go back.
You didn't know anybody at UCB. You just
Not
like,
really.
That's wild.
I don't know why. I really try to remember like what my thought process was. Like, why did I choose UCB over like Second City or IO or anything like that, or even Groundlings? Right? Yeah. But yeah, shit worked out, man. Shit worked out. Yeah.
I did it because it was the closest to writing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like,
It probably was more to like. I mean, you saw more of the celebrities at UCB, possibly. Yeah. Or that's what everybody was talking about.
that's what they said.
Yeah.
It was really popping. It was like
popping.
the new shit. It was like the new popping.
It was popping then. You know, they was trying to get black people in there. It was
Still trying? No,
still trying.
Still
trying.
They get them in and then they go, actually, we don't want this.
Yeah. It was white as shit when I got there, boy. I remember, I'm not going to say this man's name because I don't want to ruin his life. But he was my I mean, people could probably put it together. He was my 101 teacher. I won't say his name. But I remember I went to a show with this niggas, white dude. And like on stage, it was no, they had graduated, so they weren't on Hair All Night anymore. But like they got in the scene, and this dude dropped the N-word like 17 times in a fucking scene.
Oh, no.
And I was sitting in the front row, like on the side at UCB Franklin, and like motherfuckers was dying. It was like one of those scenes where like, you know, white person says the things he's not supposed to say, the fucking typical scene. And of course the first word you're not supposed to say is nigga. And like this motherfucker was like, yeah, my nigga, and everybody laughing. And I'm just sitting there, like I'm a 101 student at the time. So I'm just sitting there like, hi, this is crazy. This is crazy. And then he comes directly to me and was like, are you mad at me? And like, that's how the scene fucking wiped. And I was like, where am I at, bro?
That nigga he would have got slapped fucking with me. Fuck that
am I
shit.
At? Now, mind you,
He would have got slapped so fast.
This is 2014 maybe, somewhere. Yeah, because I took my first class around 2014, so this is around that time frame. So like
Niggas was brazen.
the fucking because I don't think I had seen either of you around yet. So like the community has changed a lot.
Yeah,
in the fucking 7-8 years that I've been doing the shit. That's crazy, man.
Bonkers.
It's fucking crazy.
That is insane, bro. I ain't never heard no shit like that.
Yeah,
I ain't never seen no shit like that.
This is a packed house at Franklin.
Just casual.
Not an eye batted.
For a whole scene. For
Not
a
an eye,
whole scene.
Motherfuckers was happy with that shit.
Boy,
that
crazy.
shit just got me mad.
Yeah,
that
just got me mad too.
I don't think anybody would do that. I don't think anybody would do that shit today. It's too many black people.
I wish a nigga would.
It's too many.
I wish a nigga would. I'm like, oh, we breaking rules. We breaking rules. Then I'm slapping you, nigga.
And not only is it too many black people in like the UCB world, but it's too many like niggas in the UCB world. like back then, it was, you know, we had a couple black people. And not saying anything about anybody's blackness or anything like that. You know, there's many different ways to be black.
Some motherfuckers is more prone to let shit slide.
Yeah, but like now, you know, we got some niggas in the UCB. And motherfuckers would be like, nah, bro.
Nah.
It's not happening.
Not today.
That's insane.
Well, let's go ahead and switch it over to maybe a white man. I don't know if I'd be that mad if he said nigga.
Yeah, man, he might get a pass. He might get a pass. He
was on his living
Fuck
color.
that shit.
Nah.
Fuck that shit. He is Canadian.
Yeah,
he never would.
Still bad.
He never would.
He never would.
He was on
never
the living
would.
color, and he didn't own the living color.
Look,
So
we said movies, but in living color, we need to just give it its flowers real quick.
Yeah, man.
I wanted to put it on this list just because it is so fucking good.
Yo,
that show is way better than it has any right to be.
I mean, you know, I don't want to, for people who don't read the podcast description, I don't want to drop what we're talking about until you guys drop it. But like, I'm going to give you an in living color, like, little fun fact with one of the movies I'm going to talk about.
okay.
Yeah.
All
right.
Well, that's a good lead in.
We're talking about
Top three Jim Carrey movies.
Yes, sir.
Man, this man was ruling the 90s, bro. Like,
Jim Carrey,
the
man.
man with the plastic face.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not surprised when people say that he's crazy because there's no way you can be this funny and not be crazy.
Yeah.
You know, like I think he's the greatest example of just meant to be doing something and doing that thing.
Yeah.
He was so pivotal in my sense of humor growing up.
Yeah,
the
man.
movies like made me like movies. Like the number one pick I have is like one of the movies where I was like, oh, fucking movies are tight. Like I watched that VHS, I think until it broke.
Yeah.
But like I just can't give the man enough credit. Look, take away who celebrities are crazy people. And as Leonard loves to say, you know, you don't idolize anybody, but I did idolize the Jim Carrey.
Oh, Jim Carrey is
the thing Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
So like if the person is a little flawed, sure, whatever, fine. But Jim Carrey, the comedic actor, is one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah, even just the actor in general.
Yeah.
Also true.
And like he was one of the, because I was born in '86, so In Living Color came out when I was a child, but like I remember watching it as a kid. It was one of the first like
Shouldn't have been
actual
watching it as a
TV
kid.
shows. Shouldn't have, but it was one of the first TV shows I remember actively knowing like, oh, In Living Color is on, right?
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey, that I can remember is one of the first like actors who I remember from television that crossed over to movies. So like that's why he was even more special to me, because I was like, oh, Fire Marshal Bill, Fire Marshal Bill, and now he in this movie, and this shit is crazy and fun, bro. I gotta dude, Ace Ventura. Ace Ventura was one of my like probably my first favorite movie of all time, just in general.
Yeah.
And is it in the top 3 though? We'll see. But like, it was probably my first favorite movie of all time in general. And I think, in second grade, we would all get to always bring like a VHS. Every student got to bring a VHS every week to watch. Like, and the week that like it was my turn, I bought Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Hilarious.
Now, this, when we were shorties, our moms and our parents would let us watch whatever, right? Yeah. But like, I didn't have a barometer for Ace Ventura.
This isn't good for school.
So like, and now as an adult, I'm like, what the fuck was I? Of course, the teacher turned this shit off. Yeah. Like within the first 5 minutes of this movie, he drops the F word like 8 times. He gets his dick sucked.
The fucking plunger scene after he kisses.
Like, bro, and like we just up here watching it, and then the teacher was like, "We have to turn this off," and I immediately start crying. I was like, "Why?" Like, this is my movie.
You don't understand.
Bro, I did not understand.
That's so fucking funny.
Teacher's like, I'm not getting fined today.
Exactly. Teacher was like, this is going over your head, not mine, brother.
Bro, at the beginning of that movie, Jim Carrey has a scene where he holds the bar up and like literally is getting his dick sucked and is swinging from the bar. We a bunch of second graders watching this shit.
Niggas are like
crazy,
locked in.
Crazy. We didn't know. I didn't know what the fuck that was.
I wondered, you probably was exposing that shit to like hella to other second graders who hadn't seen it either.
Bro, I'm the reason. Let me know.
Oh shit, Mom! I learned about a blowjob.
He created a classroom. He created a classroom of freaks.
Classroom of freaks. Before we start,
I
have a very important question to ask you.
Yeah.
What are your top 3 preparations of potatoes?
Ooh, that's a good one. In order?
3, 2, 1.
Okay. Top 3 preparation of potatoes. Damn. Okay. I think I gotta go. Oh fuck. All right. I think I gotta go scalloped.
Scalloped potatoes.
Scalloped.
3. Another first.
Number 3.
That's a first.
Gotta go scalloped, because you, especially like cheesy scalloped. Cheesy scalloped, that's seasoned well.
Yeah,
you can you rocking them boys. They're good, and they go with like good meal. It makes it feel like the meal is elevated.
Yeah.
Yes,
you know, it's like an elevated meal. So scalloped potatoes, which you don't get often. I think I gotta go every variation of just French fry.
Okay.
For number 2. So that's tater tots. That's fries.
Oh no! Tater tots and
fries are not the same.
We accept all fries, but tater tots are not fries.
We'll give you all
potato
fries.
wedges are not fries.
No,
potato wedges is trash.
That's your stance, but they're also not fries.
But so you can have all fries, but not tater tots.
We'll give you all fries. Tots don't fall in there.
They're
literally separate.
What's your number 1 type of fry?
My number 1 type of fry, it depends, man. I do like a curly fry.
Okay.
I like a thin cut. If you could do a crinkle cut well, great. But you got to season the hell out of them bitches.
Okay.
The salt be falling all in between the ridges and going to the bottom and shit. You got to season them
people
motherfuckers.
Don't do it before they throw it in the grease. It never turns out right.
You got to season them boys.
Okay.
I'm not picky with the fries. I don't like... waffle fries is you know, the homophobic waffle fries are the best. But
they fire.
It's something about them fries, boy. Something about them homophobic fries.
Hey, they not homophobic anymore, bro.
They're not. I was about to say, I think they got in trouble for not being homophobic.
They're not
Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, they got a new CEO.
Oh,
this
shit.
Nigga said he doing too much, though.
Oh,
he said all white people should kiss the feet of black people for the service that they did for this country. Let's just shine their shoes and kiss their feet.
Not wrong.
I was like,
so then I can officially.
I might get a chicken sandwich. God damn.
So I can officially say I had Chick-fil-A today.
You don't gotta kiss my feet and shine my shoes, nigga. Give me some fucking money, nigga. Give me some Chick-fil-A stock,
nigga. Just
nigga. Give me Chick-fil-A
Don't
stock.
charge me for a large lemonade, my nigga.
Every black person should get one free meal a week from Chick-fil-A.
Listen, I'll be there.
I'll
be there.
Shit.
I'll be
for
there.
a year.
Come on,
like
for life.
Yeah,
that's a lifetime
Niggas would
thing.
go out of business.
No, you
Bro.
wouldn't. Everybody gets one meal. That's reasonable.
You get black people to love your restaurant. You can drop a nigga commercial and they'll still come in your shit.
Facts. You can have the dude who did that shit in your class be like, "What's up, niggas?
What up, niggas?" I'll be like, "I don't like that, man, but let me go and get this chicken sounds real quick."
I'm like, hey, y'all niggas
that spicy chicken sandwich.
Y'all niggas was foul, bro. Y'all niggas was real foul for that shit.
Get that 8-piece nugget.
Shit, the spicy combo, bro, with a large fry.
Yeah.
I'll take that shit, please. Also, it's funny that when they were homophobic, is that was my funniest thing to talk to my gay friends about. Be like,
They be eating
you
Chick-fil-A.
don't like Chick-fil-A, nigga? They be like, nah, that shit fire.
What's your number one potato? What's your number one potato?
I think I gotta go mashed.
Mashed.
Man.
It's always mashed.
Mashed be whooping ass.
We gotta go through and correlate.
Yeah,
I
mashed.
do
You just
how
can't.
many people do mashed.
You
It's
get
crazy.
a good mashed potato.
Yeah.
That shit just make you feel
It's
like
fries and mashed are the most
Fries
for
and
sure
mashed.
going to be in the final top.
I mean,
three.
those are the most dominant ones.
Yeah.
Though, so it's
Yeah.
not surprising.
But with scallop, scallop is the first.
That is a first. I was about to
Good.
say the bougie variants are the ones that I'm interested to like see how many get representation.
Yeah, somebody
as we go through, like
Was it,
scalloped and
was it Yami?
au
She said
gratin.
the regional spicy potato
Oh
dish.
yeah,
That was
everybody has a
what's that?
spicy. Everybody has a version of a spicy potato dish.
I was like, okay.
that's
Like
in her
a
top three.
shakshuka.
That was in her top three.
That was,
Where you at, Yamini? Yamini, you wrong.
I don't agree.
All right, now let's get to these top three Jim
Let's
Carrey
do it.
movies.
Let's do it.
Yeah, this is gonna be great. He has a lot of great movies. This man had a crazy
So many,
reign,
bro.
like a crazy 10-year reign. My number three.
You know,
I'll go ahead. What?
real quick, just before we start this, again, one more adding to the flowers. This nigga had 3 in a row of the biggest movies of the year, back to back to back,
It was like
in
The Mask,
3
Ace
movies.
Ventura,
The Mask,
Dumb
Ace
and Dumber?
Ventura, and there was one other one. There's one he did right after The
Was it Truman
Mask.
Show? Or was
It
it
was Dumb and Dumber or
and
Cable
Dumber.
Guy.
It was, yeah,
I think it was Cable Guy.
it was Cable Guy.
Yeah.
All 3 of those movies, the number 1 movie of the year, huge box office movies,
Yeah.
all Jim Carrey.
I mean, Jim Carrey at one point was the highest paid man in Hollywood.
Yeah.
His minimum wage was $20 million.
I remember that.
Before,
Body.
like, that's what, like, normal
Yeah, this is like
that was the
97 or
A-list,
some shit.
yeah.
Like, this was crazy.
Like,
bro.
Jim at
that shit
a
stuck
certain
with me. I was like,
time.
oh shit, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. People forget, like, not only was Jim just big, Jim was bankable.
Why
He
that
was
nigga
fucking
stop making
bankable.
movies? He don't
Need it no more.
He don't need it no more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was good, man. He was good.
was
I'm
great.
interested to hear what,
All right,
because
so
I am
my
a Jim
number
Carrey
3
person, so I'm interested
My number
to
3
hear.
is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Smile.
It's a good pick.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, I don't. It's not his first it's not his first serious movie, but it was just like, God damn, man, this nigga. I'm sad. Like it was just it's a great story. It's a great movie. Kate Winslet is great. Like just them two together, it just felt real. And I also like the little sci-fi shit. You know what I'm saying? I like a sci-fi aspect to share it. So this man acted his ass off. It's still one of my favorite movies to this day. You know, it's kind of hard not to pick like just straight 3 comedies because you know he's the comedy king. But
not hard.
It's not hard. It's not hard. But
You know what movie definitely, it's not even in my honorable mentions, 23. That movie's bad. That movie's bad.
23 was bad. Number 23 was like the first movie of his that I watched. I was like,
This ain't it.
This ain't
This ain't it, Jim. This ain't it, Jim.
I love that. I mean,
I mean, come on. I mean, when did that come out? Like that was like
it was
2001.
2002 or 3.
Oh, 2002.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
And it was like good because for me, I was like at a age where I didn't really watch. I don't think I actually. The first time I watched it was 2007, and I was like 20, 21, and I was just like, oh, this is like I could understand and fully engulf and appreciate the movie, and it's been one of my favorite movies since then. So, gotta go with.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I'll save my comments because it's on my list too. But my number 3 is Liar Liar. My personal trauma, this movie is a little too close to home. My father is a pathological liar. And so for me, growing up to see this person get this curse where they have to tell the truth, they have no choice, and like seeing how they go through the ringer and then come through positive on the other side of it was really spoke to the little kid in me. I'm just now realizing, like, when I put this list together, why that movie is so important to me. But that aside, me as a little kid is like, this shit funny as hell.
Oh my God.
This shit is so fun. I think that's one of his fun. When he fucking spits the water on the courtroom, when he's in the fucking bathroom, he's like, boobies,
trying to write red.
Boobies.
Yeah.
Like,
This pen is red.
there's so many things in that movie that are just so funny. But it really, the core of it is, the message behind it is actually good. It's like poignant. It's very heartwarming, and it shows that you can grow and be better. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I fuck with it, because he wasn't. He was kind of a piece of shit. You know what I mean? He's a bad person.
Fact is.
Yeah,
I know what Jacquis' fact is.
Do you?
He's a bad person, and he grew and became better.
This is also later in my top 3. So
it was fun. It was gonna be in my top 3. It was very close to being in my top 3, but I put it right outside of it, and we'll talk about it when we talk about honorable mentions. Okay. But Liar Liar is like it should be in everybody's almost top 3 or top 4,
right?
And
I feel like it's not one that is talked in that type of vein. I feel like when you think Mask, you think Ace Ventura.
Yeah,
those are
the Truman Show. Took his place.
But Liar Liar, when we just talking about the scope of his career, is the reason that, like, that's what booked him to like, oh, this is a true A-list actor, right? Yes. Because before that, he was like Cable Guy, Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura 1 and 2, The Mask. It was all those movies. And like Liar Liar was, and he went, what are those movies famous for? Like, he's very like big and cartoonish and like crazy face and all that stuff. And while he did do that in Liar Liar, like Liar Liar is more grounded than any of those other movies that he did.
Yes.
And people was like, oh, Jim Carrey can kind of act, actually. It's not just like him being silly. He can actually act and like actually hit comedic beats and hit moments and hit all these things. And then right after that, that's when we get Truman Show and like Majestic and Man on the Moon and like all these other movies where people are like, oh, Jim Carrey is not just a comedic actor. He's one of the best actors in Hollywood right now. And it was because Liar Liar. Like, such a good fucking movie.
Great movie.
I love that movie.
All right.
My fun fact, though, if you want it now.
Drop it.
So at the end of that movie, you know this. This has been on Instagram, so people probably know this. But at the end of that movie, when Jim Carrey is, after he breaks both his legs, and he's being carried away on a stretcher, like they like do a scene where it's obviously not him on the stretcher. It's like a stunt double or whatever. Because if you look in the back, Jim Carrey is in the back as an extra acting as Fire Marshal Bill.
That's
like, he's like, and then like the extras around him are cracking up. This is in the movie. You can still see it. They kept it in.
My top 3.
And like he is in there just going crazy as and like people around him are dying.
Because they pan out the focus. You're looking at this, and then it's like, oh shit, that shit is happening right there.
It's crazy, bro.
We need to bring back in credit bloopers. I've been saying this for years.
The Liar Liar in credit bloopers are some of my favorites.
They're fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like also the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, how do you act with this nigga, bro? Yeah. Like how do you not break every time?
Yeah. I was talking to Adam Pally and recently, like a year ago when he was filming Sonic 2, so whenever that was, and you know, I guess at this point, Jim has been doing it for like 30 years. So he was like, it's kind of fucking annoying. It's just like, can we get the shot done, please? Which, you know, maybe in the 90s and early 2000s, people are like, yeah, but like in 2018, 19, motherfuckers like, all right, man, shit.
I got places to be.
But also, I feel like in 2018, 19, you're acting with people. So it's a problem for everything.
Who grew up with you.
Like,
too.
you know what I mean? Like people who grew up with you. So you're like, you're even bigger. Like in the 90s, it's like, this nigga funny. So you're just laughing off of him being funny.
He's just your colleague at that point.
Now he's funny and he's Jim Carrey. You know what I mean? So you're like, fuck. Like, oh shit, I can't fuck this up. But that's funny as hell.
All right, what's your 3?
Not going to be much parody here, but it's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Wow, we are here.
Eternal Sunshine, I think, is one of the most beautiful and tragic love stories of all time. Because it is truly, it makes you think like, yo, is it worth it to forget all the bad times if it also means forget? Like there are, like everything has its purpose and everything is not all bad. And sometimes you do take the good with the bad. It teaches all that shit about relationships. And to this day, I will never understand how Kate Winslet got nominated for Best Actress in that movie, and Jim Carrey did not get nominated for. But still, like that is Jim Carrey. That was Jim Carrey's movie.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying Kate shouldn't have been nominated.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna nominate her,
you gotta nominate.
You gotta nominate him. And like it was that. That is when I first learned about the political aspect of like the Academy Awards.
What the thing?
It's not that they hate Jim Carrey because like that stunt he pulled at the Golden Globes when he was talking out his ass and shit like that.
With the Ace Ventura, it's still mind-boggling to me that the Academy, they still do this. The disrespect they have towards comedic actors, where you have to. I don't know how people are still shocked when comedic actors are good drama actors, because it's harder to be funny than it is to be serious, and to sell that, to like portray that and give it to somebody, because you're reluctant to laugh. And you have to understand deep sadness and all these other things in order to get those jokes like across. And also, most funny people are sad anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's like there's just so many things where it's like, duh, obviously this is going to work out like this. So whenever people are shocked, I'm confused by it. There's so many examples of it.
I mean, one of the biggest reasons why I as somebody who's done both, like I don't necessarily like to think of it as like one is easier and one is harder. I think like one focuses on beats, which is comedy. Like you focus on the beats of a joke. You focus on the beats of the scene. Like that's what you're focusing on, any observation of it. And those are things that you are supposed to also focus on in drama. But when you are good at comedy, it forces you to slow those beats down. And like that is the number one thing that you're going to need. That's why dramatic actors are so good, because they are very good at slowing those beats down and making you see every little bit of those beats. And that's why Jim Carrey was so fucking good, like as an actor, when he was coming from comedy. It's because he understood like the beats of a scene, right? And that's like if you study Shakespeare and you do text analysis, that is literally all you're doing, is studying the beats of this fucking scene and breaking it down and doing the text and script analysis. And like comedians, that's just what we're taught. Like that is what you are taught as a comedian, is the beats of a scene. There's 3 beats, blah, 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 this. Like delivery, setup, delivery, punchline. Like you learn all this shit that you don't learn as a dramatic actor, because dramatic actor is just, what are the emotions? Yeah. And then if you actually like marry those two things together, what are the emotions and how do you get there in the beats of that emotion, or how do you live in those beats? Like you can do both of that. If you're a good comedic actor, like transitioning to do that in drama is generally easier than people who do not or have not studied shit like that. Yeah.
I guess that's what I mean more about easy. It's also, they're just in shooting something, in presenting a movie, there's more tricks to making you feel something than it is to make you laugh. Like I can throw a music track, I can slow stuff down, I can give you the lighting things, and that shit will get what I want out of you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta make this nigga laugh. Like, you know what I mean? Like the shot has to be funny. Like you gotta land the joke or it's not gonna work. But whatever. Man's great.
And timing. Timing is everything.
Timing. Yes. Honorable mentions. I got
The Mask is on mine. The Mask is my honorable mention. It's like, is it iconic? Yes. Is it my favorite Jim Carrey movie? By no means, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I rewatched it recently and I was like, this movie is fucking manic, dude. Like, what is happening here?
It's very manic.
It's fucking crazy. But you see why Jim Carrey is famous. It's like, this is like, to make this believable is damn near impossible.
Yeah.
And he does. And also, what's her name? Cameron Diaz. Hot as fuck.
She was bad.
Movie.
Bad as fuck.
That is the coldest she's ever been.
That's
I didn't even know. I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
But,
she was bad, bro.
There's a reason why she's famous.
That was her first movie.
That was number uno. And it showed in their acting choices, but whatever.
She was fine, bro.
The Truman Show is also going to be my honorable mention. I respect what it did. I like it. I think his range, like cementing, like how good he is sick. And if you rewatch the Truman Show, I rewatched the Truman Show like every 5 years. You notice different things and different choices of like how layered it is. Because that's why I like murder mystery books, because it's like, oh shit, like once you finished it, you go back and you go like, they dropped the hint in here. And you see all the places they fucking led you towards what the end was going to be. And it's impressive every time. I'm like, it's a mind-boggling movie. But it's not that. I'm structurally more interested than the story I'm interested, if that makes sense. Like, as a person who loves movies, I'm interested in that because I'm like, this is impressive structurally. I'm not that hyped about the story. It's like when you watch a certain sad movie, it's like, this movie was lit. It's like Moonlight is one of the greatest examples of visually expressing mood and feelings that I've ever seen. But I'm not trying to watch that movie all the time. It's sad as fuck. I'm not trying to be depressed.
That's fair. I got to put Ace Ventura in my honorable mentions.
Okay.
Even though I was like, it was my first favorite movie ever.
Yeah.
There are other Jim Carrey movies that I, especially like as I've grown as a performer, that connect with me or that I love or that mean something to me in the gist of like his career.
Yeah.
More than Ace Ventura. But Ace Ventura is so fucking funny. Yeah. It is so, and just that character in general is so funny. Even though like Ace Ventura When Nature Calls isn't like the funniest one of his movies, there's two moments in even When Nature Calls when he is coming out of that damn rhino and being born.
Tell me the spear.
and then Tommy Davidson is coming like doing his like greeting to like the Africans, saying some shit like Bumblebee Tuna. And then Jim Carrey like Bumblebee Tuna. Excuse me, your balls are showing. Bumblebee Tuna. Man, I would die laughing every time I heard that shit.
Damn, I haven't watched the second. I haven't watched.
You should watch it. You should watch When Nature Calls, man. It's funny. It's not like it's not as funny as the first one, but it's some funny ass beats and moments in that movie, man.
Yeah, that's the first one. I haven't seen in a long time, but it's like I remember every of that movie. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Cable Guy is also my honorable mention.
Cable Guy?
Yeah.
Cable Guy, yeah.
It's a Bruce way darker movie than people remember.
It is.
Like, I was like, this nigga's a serial
Ben Stiller, like
Bruce
directorial with that one too. Yeah. Bruce Almighty is great.
Bruce Almighty is, that's a good honor.
My number 2, you just talked about it, Truman Show.
Truman
Show. I mean, just like you said, I think it was, they saw Liar Liar and they were like, all right, let's give him something that if he can tackle it, if he can pull it off. And I mean, I don't know. I can't imagine someone else playing this role. It just felt so genuine and just like the end, man, and the monologue at the end, and like you just seeing like his just thinking about someone in that position. It really felt like I was watching someone who had been like coddled and controlled their entire life, like discovering themselves. And it was just like, damn, this movie is amazing. And just like also the concept of the movie, like as a kid, that's what really got me into it. It was like, oh man, like someone living in this TV show and they've been controlling him his whole life. And I was a very skeptical, cynical child, so I was like, this kid, I can see this happening. And then like seeing it just felt so real. And like even though the acting is amazing, but like even all the like behind the scenes and what's his name that always plays the asshole, like who's directing. Like
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris.
He always plays the asshole. Like it's just like all the parts where like it could have found a way to take me out of the movie. It never happened. It was like it felt like they had like everything covered in like in the scenario, and then fucking they gave it to Jim Carrey and he hit it out of the park. So it was just like, damn. It was just like,
yeah. I'll do mine. You all have already said it. My number 2 is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Look, everything you all said, but plus, I don't know. I watched it when it first dropped, and I liked all of the subversions, like shitting on the manic pixie dream girl concept. She's like, I'm a person, I'm not a concept type thing. The shit they pulled off with the budget that they had is mind blowing.
With the cars,
the transitions of things being deleted, where they get rid of the fucking the book titles.
It's also just a very beautiful and visually compelling movie.
It's absurd. I'm like, it technically is astounding. But then I've watched it recently, and after having been in the only serious love in my life, to take it a step back and look at that movie of what the message is behind it, and saying like you get so caught up in the anger of things that you're lost in like your emotion that you don't remember the whole picture. And then like as you go back and play the things, you see the nuances and the small truths of situations that breed to the point of you getting back to the top of being like, let's do it again, because love is love, man. And it's like all this bullshit we've added in the cloud and like blinded us from the truth, because as you go in life, it can easily weigh you down in that. Like once you delete that, which is ironically like you're doing it from a place of anger, but it also helps you see like, this is my person, bro. Like I love this human being. And it's like, it's beautiful,
gorgeous, man. It's beautiful writing. And like, and those two actors, Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey, like portrayed it beautifully. For me, it's that question too. It's like, would you be willing to erase all the bad times, even if they were some very bad times, if it meant you erase all like the moments of love, right? And I think like when you ask that question, out of context, some people probably say like, yeah, sure. But that movie was like, all right, not only are we going to ask you that, I'm going to show you you're going to remember how it felt to be this in love. Like I remember the one scene where he was like, please just let me keep this one memory. Like no other memory. Like, let me keep this one memory. Like, is that one memory it was so good and he felt so good. And it was just like, I'm feeling that like we chase, right? It's like, it's not worth losing all the bad shit if I have to lose this one fucking memory, right? It's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking as shit, dude.
But it's also hopeful. Like when you're saying that it's heartbreaking, it's also hopeful, because the scene that kicked me in the chest is at the end, where like he reads where they get the voicemail or whatever, and they're saying how he felt, and he's like, she's fucking irritating, she's annoying, this, that, and third. And then she goes, all right, I have to like, or she says his, I forgot. She says his, and then she goes, I have to hear yours, it's only fair. Yeah. And like you're seeing all the growth they've done. Mm-hmm. And so it gives them all these new tools in order to handle it better this time. And like you see the growth in even them being how they handle hearing all of these things. Yeah. And that just solidifies the point of like, you're saying, it's ironic the movie is saying, we only remember the shitty things. So that's why you want to delete that. Mm-hmm. But we fucking make the big things the reason why we started and we maintain this smaller. Yeah. And so once you start to let go of how important these negatives are, you see how important the positives actually are. Yeah. And it's a beautiful movie. I think one of Jim Carrey's best performances, and I agree with you, he was snubbed. But everything about that movie is stunning. The soundtrack, the acting,
oh my God,
visuals, the techniques they did to pull it off. The fact that it was done with no money. Like everything about that movie is fucking nuts.
The cast, Mark Ruffalo, Elijah Wood, Kristen Dunst, Tom Wilkerson.
Elijah Wood, so good.
I hated him. Even like this, like the last song in the movie, fucking Everybody's Gotta Learn Sometime by Beck. Like everything about this movie. This is Eternal Sunshine. It was just gonna be funny because I'm gonna say this about two of these movies in here are in my like top 5 of all time. Eternal Sunshine is probably like 4 or 5, or 5 in that list. It's such a good movie.
It's a good movie. It's fire.
All right. So, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is The Mask.
Okay.
My number 2 is The Mask. Even though I think as a comedy, as a more grounded comedy, Liar Liar, I was struggling between Liar Liar and The Mask. Even though I think as a comedy, Liar Liar is definitely a more grounded. It also, you know, for people of my age, was also the movie that I feel like I grew up in comedy as well. And I started appreciating like different type of comedies and things like that when that movie came out. It's my mom's favorite like Jim Carrey movie. So like just a bunch of shit. But The Mask, for me, as somebody who grew up and still to this day loves Looney Tune cartoons. Like I grew up on Looney Tunes. I grew up on Jim Carrey. And like The Mask is the who?
Put them in a blender.
You put them in a blender and you get The Mask, right? That is The Mask. It is one of the silliest movies that you'll ever fucking see, right? And it lands throughout the entire fucking movie, even though it is very manic. Like the silliness of it never like outgrows like what the movie is actually like doing. And the moments in that movie, like they call me Cuban Pete, and then the smoking, and like all like there's like it's probably like my first like movie that I remember just like quoting the shit out of, like in school and shit too, just like in the green mask, the yellow suit. It was just iconic. Everything about it was so fucking iconic, man. Like, and it's the movie. Like Ace Ventura was it. Dumb and Dumber, you know, Cable Guy was great, but when The Mask came out, I was like, oh. This is my favorite fucking actor. Because it was silly. I was in my cartoon phase anyway. And I got to see like my first actual live action like cartoon almost. Like, because I didn't really like Roger Rabbit. Roger Rabbit kind of went over my head like as a kid.
Yeah, I was a little too young.
And it's a little different than what The Mask is. But The Mask was right up my fucking wheelhouse. And also... You know, Cameron Diaz was fine as hell.
Cameron Diaz in that red dress is a problem.
Not mad about it.
Cameron Diaz in that red dress is a fucking problem.
All right, I'm gonna give my number 1. It's been said, and you know what you were saying. It made me think. It's funny too, just thinking about the period of time and understanding comedy and appreciating it more. For some reason, I can't stop thinking about Bebe's Kids because we were talking about black movies the episode before this, and I'm kind of mad I did not mention Bebe's Kids.
Would have been good.
Bebe's Kids is good.
Bebe's Kids is like one of the first like movies where I was probably still too young to like fully engulf, but I was kind of like, oh, I see what's happening here. You know what I'm saying? And but my number 1 is Liar Liar, and I was just like old enough to really get what was happening. Like fully and kind of understand. And I did like the fact that it was like a grounded, I didn't like the Looney Tune like crazy thing. I just always wanted to watch like a real ass movie that felt like, oh, this could happen. Like this really could happen. And the Liar Liar thing was just a unique situation.
Yeah, even the magic in Liar Liar wasn't crazy.
That's what I'm saying, because it was just like he wasn't. They show him being an asshole lawyer, and that felt very believable to me. Pathological liar. His son makes this wish, and it just felt like, oh damn, like this. I could see it, you know. And we've talked about it. I mean, come on, man. This man beat his own ass.
Listen, that's the thing, too.
Beat his own ass in the bathroom, bro.
As grounded as this movie is, it still is very silly.
It's
crazy. He beat his own ass, bro. He's like, a crazy lunatic is happy in the bathroom.
The pen is blue. The pen is blue. The goddamn pen is blue. Like, the movie is Liar Liar is truly like,
and then just like how he made it work with the whole Jennifer Tilly situation, and like, oh shit, and like he figured it out, and you know he gets back to the son, and he couldn't tell a lie. He thought he couldn't lie, but then he was telling the truth, and it's just like it was. He breaks his own legs. Like he still gets fucked in the end. You know what I'm saying? And like I just appreciate it through and through. It's just a great fucking movie. Still to this day, it's fucking hilarious.
It's still funny.
Like it's funny for like kids, but even as adult, it's so goddamn funny,
love it.
Man. The mama, the milk Come on, man.
Yeah.
But even the scene where he has to tell his secretary all the shit that he lied about, bro.
I done got him 10.
Bro, that shit is.
The movie's great,
oh
man.
my God, man. I feel like, it's my number one. I don't know necessarily if there's an exact reason or if I can pinpoint it, but like I said, it was like one of the last pure comedies that he made that like I could fully understand. It was like I didn't fully understand the Ace Venturas. I was a little too young. The Mask, but the Liar Liar, bro, goddamn.
Yeah,
it's a good choice. My number one, Ace Ventura 2.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, when nature calls. When nature calls.
Wow.
Because I was shown that one first. My mom gave me that one first.
Okay.
And I can quote every part of that fucking movie.
Yeah.
He says, too much.
Yeah.
It's like, tell me a spearmint. Another one. It's in the bone. It's in the bone. Where he fucking comes into the room and he sees all the animals and he's like, and he just does the fucking barks. That movie is so fucking funny to me.
It's very funny, man.
Is it nonsense? Yes, but it's also less problematic than the first one. Like the first one is slick, like real homophobic.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
homophobic, transphobic.
And this is based in Africa in no racist jokes, which is astounding for a movie in the 90s. And it's like the Bumblebee tuna is funny as fuck.
That shit cracks me up.
It's just so silly. Like Slinky, everyone wants a Slinky when he's running down the stairs. It's just that movie is burned into my mind.
Yeah.
Like when I think of comedy, I think of Jim Carrey because of this and Liar Liar.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny and it's just fun. It's a fun movie. Like I remember watching, just enjoying myself watching it and being like, I love this man for giving me this feeling.
Yeah.
So
Ace Ventura is probably just like has to be top 20 greatest characters of all time.
Easily.
Easily. Just because it's
so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. It is what it is. It is a quintessential like character that put a specific actor on the map.
Yeah.
Like I even think of some of like the greatest actors, like Denzel. What could you say? Maybe Malcolm X. Maybe this. But with Jim Carrey, it is 100% Ace Ventura. Like put this man
on the map,
on the fucking map. It's so funny. Ace Ventura 2 is
how
great.
many times? I mean, have you seen a white dude in a tutu with his hair up? Like,
bro, if you go back and watch that, I love this about like just TV shows and movies when you can see the cast breaking.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and watch that, and like when he like does his shit and he slams his head on the ground, you can see Courtney Cox and whoever the old dude was like lose it. They kept it in. Like so they great, lose it, bro. Like I just can't imagine being on a set with him and just getting to see him do that shit. And like as an actor, like he fucking slammed his head into that damn bench. As an actor, I wish I would. Like I wish I fucking would. So if I see somebody do it, that's just gonna crack me out.
If you don't use that take, you're like, fuck. Bro,
right. You can't not use that take. You can't not use that take.
Yeah, that movie's so good, dude. That movie is way better than it needs to be. Yeah. It's so fun. And I still say Queen Switcher to this day.
I love it. Not only is it my number one Jim Carrey movie, it is and has been since it came out my favorite movie of all time, and it's The Truman Show. The Truman Show is my favorite movie of all time. They teach The Truman Show in universities. Like that's how crazy that story was. Like they teach, like I forget what it was, and you can look it up, like the actual course, but they teach like what Truman was going through in that movie and like and the manipulation and everything. They teach that. They have college courses on that shit. That's how like mind-blowing that movie was for me too. And it was the first movie that I saw of his that I was like, oh, this isn't like, I don't even know if I didn't know it was funny going into it as a kid in 97. Like I was 11. Like I was just like another Jim Carrey movie. He's my favorite actor. And then I went into that, I'm sure thinking it was going to be a comedy, obviously watching it and not being, and coming out and saying like, that was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life as a fucking 11-year-old. I was like, I got it. Like,
and it still holds up.
And it still holds up. Also, like, I think it's before its time. I think it is a movie that is a precursor for the type of world we live in now, where like every aspect of your life
that we are gonna follow and see from childbirth.
Yeah,
there are these family YouTube channels.
It's
and
crazy,
shit,
bro.
And
you know, the message of that movie we're just not getting today. Like, that movie is truly before its time. I was like, this isn't good. Yeah. This is not a good thing to have every aspect of your life seen for a viewing public, right? And the manipulation of it, and just like his desperate like reason, or his desperate like emotion to find like what else is out there. Like, he knows. That's the heartbreaking part about it. He knows from a very early age that this is not real. This is not life. Like, can you imagine that? Like, can you imagine just this is what you like are born into, and something in you is telling you like there's more out there. Like, it's fucking beautiful. And I think the last 5 minutes of that movie are some of the best last 5 minutes in cinema. Like, him like finally reaching the end, and like when he touches the cloud wall, like I could feel through the movie. He was just like, my entire like 30 something years, I knew this was here, and it's fucking here. It's right here. So it makes me cry. And then like when he walks up those stairs, and then the Ed Harris monologue, and Ed Harris is just like going, and Jim Carrey's not even looking at the camera. Then he turns around and gives a final curtain call and walks out. Oh my God, dude. Like, it is so fucking good, dude. Like, I love, and I'm an actor, you know, I do theater, so curtain calls, I love curtain. He just like says his last bit, in case I don't see you. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That music swells. He gives a laugh. He gives his curtain call. He fucking like waves out. The crowd, like everybody around the world is losing their mind. They're happy. And then the movie is like, well, what else is on? Movie ends. Like, it's perfect, dude. It's fucking perfect, dude. It's such a good fucking movie. Jim Carrey should have, in my opinion, 3 Oscars. He should have one for The Truman Show. He should have one for Man on the Moon, and he should have one for Eternal Sunshine. He should at least have one out of those 3.
Of those.
Yeah. Which ones?
Eternal and Truman Show. I'm not giving this nigga's antics
an
Oscar for.
I mean, like Man on the Moon. Man on the Moon is one I would say also maybe not. Yeah. But like,
Eternal
that's his
and
possible
Truman Show.
One. That's his other possible one. Would have been that one.
Eternal and Truman Show. 100%.
Yeah.
Oh,
100%. The Truman Show is actually mind-boggling.
Criminal that he doesn't have any.
I gotta look up what won that year.
I don't remember what won. But even just like the product placement in that movie, or the other actors coming in and like seeing the roles they have to play, it just like whoever Peter Weir, I think, is who wrote that movie, and it is just one of the more unique movies you'll ever get. And if that movie came out today, I wonder would it hit, because like we live in that world. It
would be like a Black Mirror episode.
Because
everybody would be like, okay.
It kind of is. Yeah. It's kind of like the original Black Mirror episode. Yeah. And I think because it was Jim Carrey, even though like people praise him for the role, like we didn't necessarily connect to how creepy this type of life or this like concept is.
I think Leonard said this earlier when he was like, nobody else could play that role. I think nobody else could play that role specifically because Jim Carrey was America's funny person. You know what I mean? Because everybody was so invested in this man and so like, oh yeah, ha 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 ha. The depth, like it's a surrogate for Truman. Like Jim Carrey himself is the same thing. That's why the role works, is because everybody was like all invested on this comedy person. Meanwhile, this nigga's struggling and going through all this type of dark shit inside. And it's a negative effect on your mind to know that fact. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think it just comes through with an authenticity that is, I don't think... The only other people comparable are like Leo maybe, but that's not the right type of thing.
Robin Williams.
You know what I mean? Like Robin Williams probably would work.
Yeah.
It's like
all right. Let's give our top three.
I'm saying Eternal is number one since it's all three of ours.
Yeah, Eternal is on all three of our lists.
It is all three of our lists.
Yeah.
What, Truman 2?
I put Truman or Liar Liar at number 2.
I think that's the top three.
Yeah.
Those
Eternal,
are the three, so it's just where
Truman,
are we putting Truman?
Liar Liar.
Yeah. I think like
Or you think
for the comedy
I
of
think
it, I'm
Truman should
putting
be
Lure
one.
2.
I think you got to put Liar Liar 2 just because like it like he is known as a comedic like actor, and that movie like portrays that. So like
that's why I said that.
It has to like for what he's known as. I think he can't be out of the top 2.
3.
Yeah. And then Truman Show.
I think
3.
I think in my mind it's Truman, Liar Liar, Eternal Sunshine. That's
how I would put it too.
I can live with that.
Which is what my original list was gonna be, was Truman, Liar Liar, Eternal Sunshine. But
switched it up.
I figured like everybody, I didn't want all three of us to have the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
basically
that's what it was gonna be. Yeah, I had a feeling that was gonna happen.
I mean, the truth is the truth.
Jacquis, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Jacquis Neal on Instagram, my website. Find me in these streets. Come out to Comedian Feud. Come see Leonard at Comedian Feud every month here in Los Angeles.
Yes, sir.
It's always a good time.
All right, this has been Top 3. Tell you.
Deuces.